Hey guys, it's Helping Hands here. Today I'm going to give you my raw reaction to the final stand battle group for Company Heroes 3, and then I'm going to analyze it and give you my thoughts on it as well. Hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it.
Welcome, Commander. Featured in the Endure and Defy Battle Group pack are battle groups for every army. Among them is
type of
the
cover?
Wehrmacht Last Stand Battle Group. Desperate Battle and Defense in Depth offer two distinct strategic paths. One focuses on aggressive infantry tactics with rocket fire support, and the other repurposes Rex to fortify the line with improvised emplacements. Retrain your Pioneer squads at the Infantry Company to become Sturm Pioneers. Sturm Pioneers are equipped with G43 rifles and can capture territory faster than your regular Pioneer squad. Sturm Pioneers can construct the Sandbag Shoring, a high sandbag wall that not only blocks vision but prevents infantry and light vehicles from passing. Sturm Pioneers can be upgraded with an infrared scope for better detection of concealed enemies,
And they got the four men
or
by
a
the looks of it.
flamethrower for ridding enemies from entrenched positions. Both upgrades provide an additional squad member.
They have Sturm Pioneer
Lastly,
spam now.
Sturm Pioneers can switch to throw a continual volley of grenades to flush out dug-in defenders.
Continue volley.
Nearby artillery is loading any shells they have left for an improvised barrage. Designate an area and artillery will fire random explosive ordnance, incendiary rounds, or smoke shells on that location.
Oh, I don't know about that. Hang on. That sounds a bit sus. Random? That could be so bad because you might want a smoke round or to cover yourself, or the smoke round could block the line of sight on an enemy unit that you want to finish off. Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Last-ditch defenses enables all Pioneer squads to construct propaganda towers and Panther Torm emplacements. Propaganda towers demoralize enemy infantry, reducing their territory capture speed and rate of fire. Panther Torm emplacements is a fortified defensive position using a surplus of Panther turrets. It's highly effective against vehicles with both incredible range and firepower. With recovery efforts, Sturm Pioneer squads can salvage wrecks to partially return manpower and fuel costs.
Nice, I like that.
This ability also allows Sturm Pioneers to restore a wrecked vehicle to the point it could drive to a safer location for a full maintenance and repair.
That's the first. Never seen that with infantry units. Yeah, recovery vehicles can do that, but never with infantry
With
units
fuel
before.
running low, Immobilize and Fortify allows all Pioneer squads to refund a large portion of a vehicle's fuel cost and greatly reduce its upkeep. The vehicle becomes unable to move but gains higher offensive and defensive bonuses. Strip down your vehicles and lock down territories with fortified firepower, allowing you to put those resources to better use. Shift infantry battle tactics to focus on aggression at the cost of defenses. Any infantry units lost will return a small amount of munitions to your stockpile. Switch between these battle tactics to match the situation. However, orders may take some time to reach the soldiers
Only
on the front
plus
lines.
3 munitions. One Panzer Grenadier model.
The Borgward 4 Wanze is a demolition vehicle with mounted rockets. The anti-tank rocket barrage is effective against vehicles and may cause engine damage. Keep enemy vehicles in the kill zone and seal their fate. You may load the Borgward 4 with a demolition charge and choose a location to deploy it. This explosive can be remotely activated and does considerable damage over a large area. Whilst the Borgward 4 has a demolition charge in its cargo, its payload will trigger if the vehicle is destroyed. Be careful not to leave it near your own forces.
Can you manually detonate it though?
Distribute Panzerfaust to all the infantry, greatly increasing your threat to enemy vehicles in the area of operation. This will require an additional one-time munition cost, but it will make the Allied tank commanders question their every move.
Okay, every unit gets Panzerfaust. That's pretty good.
Designate an area for Nebelwerfer Overwatch. Provide vision, and enemies in the area will be targeted for rocket bombardment. This is extremely effective against infantry and fortified positions. This is a devastating area denial tool, meant to suppress, scatter, and shatter entrenched resistance.
Yeah.
Enable your infantry to loot fallen enemies, replenish grenades, Panzerfaust, smokes, and tactical abilities. Scavenging boosts their rate of fire, making them deadlier with every engagement. Ideal for sustaining pressure and maximizing
so every
battlefield
time-
efficiency.
There's a lot to drop then. Hang on.
As
1
command,
second. So,
Staging
let's just watch
boosts
that
and
again
tactical
initially.
to
How many
loot.
units did it kill?
Enable your infantry to
So that
loot
box was
fallen
already there
enemies,
before.
replenish grenades, Panzerfaust, smokes, and tactical abilities. Scavenging boosts their rate of fire, making them deadlier with every engagement. Ideal for sustaining pressure and maximizing
Does
battlefield
every 2 models
efficiency.
that dies, it drops one of these things? It looks like, because it looks like there was only
As
4 guys
commander
that
of
died.
the
There's
Last
lots of
Stand
boxes on the
Battle
ground.
Group, you'll rely on fortified positions, aggressive pioneers, and salvaged firepower to claw back control. Make every wreck, ruin, and resource count. You're not just fighting for victory, you're fighting to survive until the end. Good luck on the battlefield, Commander. For a full debrief, visit the Company of Heroes 3 Steam page.
Steam page.
As Commander,
Right, so that is cool. I like the breakdown. It's pretty good video explaining all the abilities and stuff. This kind of new wall is pretty interesting. What is it called again? What did he say?
construct the sandbag shoring, a high
Sandbag shoring is what he's calling it. So it's blocking line of sight. You probably can attack it and eventually destroy it. It's probably got a health bar and stuff. But it's pretty interesting that you can build something now that will block line of sight completely. Oh, I wonder how you can utilize that very well. That's giving me some ideas. It's a cool kind of new thing. I can see already that, you know, in the video that they're using it to, in here, they've got this beacon here, the propaganda tower, and it's hidden behind this wall, so it's less likely in the line of fire. Still, artillery will probably take it out pretty easily, but anyone that's trying to shoot it with like an anti-tank gun or a vehicle or whatever, it should be pretty safe. Wonder how else you could use it. Ambush tactics with tractors, yeah, with DAC maybe. Good combination with DAC. You could maybe make some, you know, hide some units behind it with ambush. That's pretty cool. Completely block off areas. I mean, if it blocks vehicle movement as well, I guess it could be just another form of like barricade kind of thing, and you can maybe build it to completely seal off an area, which could be interesting.
enemy infantry, reducing their territory capture speed and rate of fire.
So rate of fire and their capture speed, which is kind of cool. If that's the, I'm looking at the, yeah, look at this line. This blue line at the top here is its radius, which is absolutely massive. Considering normally the beacon would be around about like this, with this kind of aura, but this is going all the way up to here. And if that's permanently on, that's nasty.
Panther Turm emplacements is a fortified defensive position using a surplus of Panther turrets. It's highly effective against vehicles with both incredible range and firepower.
Pretty decent range, I think. It's probably about the same range as a pack gun. I don't think it didn't look like it's got more range. I mean, when did the turret start turning here?
Fortified defensive position using a surplus.
I mean, that's a pretty decent range, I would say. Actually, but maybe, I don't know, maybe slightly more than a pack gun. I don't know. Pretty similar. Hard to really gauge it from this high ground
Of
point.
Panther turrets. It's highly effective against vehicles with both incredible range and firepower. This ability also allows Stern Pioneers to restore a wrecked vehicle to the...
Now, is that for enemy vehicles as well? Can I restore an enemy vehicle? Imagine getting a Axis Churchill or something like that, or whatever. That could be kind of cool. Like Crocodile or Pershing with this. So you get a big chunk of fuel, but how much of the Panzer IV fuel do you get
Strip
back?
down your vehicles.
Oh, I didn't show it? Oh. So I can see this being very strong, especially... Yeah, I think this would be... this is probably better. then going for if this is a choice between Panther Tank and what's the we've got the overall image here. Or it's a choice between recovery efforts and immobilize and fortify. Oh, dude, that's both. I want both of them, to be honest. Okay, I think I would see myself more. Yeah, I think I'd go Stern Pioneers, Last Ditch Defenses, recovery efforts. Then Panzerfaustradar or the Borgward 4. Dude, the Borgward 4 could be sick, though. Like, if you should drive it in and manually detonate it on something to blow it up, then blow up some really high valued allied units. It could basically, it's like a huge Goliath, you know. And if you if you can get some, if it's like what 200 manpower, 300 manpower for like 50, 60 fuel, which is what I expect that to cost, something like that. I think you could suicide it in. It's going to be more. I imagine it's going to be more durable than a Goliath, so it's going to have a higher chance of getting into the location that you want to and then detonating it. I think I could do something really good with that. But you usually, yeah, and it doesn't look like you can reverse the function, right? Once you've enacted that ability of immobilize and fortify on any vehicle, then it's permanent. Blob of this, yeah, you could if you manage to sneak around the back and you time it on the enemy retreat path, and the whole enemy blob retreats past this, and you're ready there to detonate yourself on top of the huge blob that comes in, that could be massive. So that's a really cool. This is going to be one of those fun units that we wanted for Company Heroes 3, like a Sturmtiger kind of thing. I think this is going to be pretty cool. It's also got that kind of skill shot ability where you're firing rockets, kind of like the tulip rockets that we're going to get again with the Firefly. That's pretty cool. I'm liking that.
Shift infantry battle tactics to focus on aggression at the cost of defenses. Any infantry units lost will return a small amount of munitions to your stockpile. Switch between these battle tactics to match the situation. However, orders may take some time to reach the soldiers on the front lines.
What does that mean? Orders may take some time to reach the front lines? That sounds like sounds a weird thing to say. Does that mean there's just going to be a big delay between you pressing the button and the ability being active? Seems a bit weird.
The vehicle becomes unable to move but gains higher offensive and defensive bonuses.
Okay. So it's harder to kill, and it would supposedly do more damage. It doesn't specifically. The guy didn't specifically say it increases range, like what it used to do in Company Heroes 2 when you hold down something. So yeah, that's interesting. But I think this would be very, very powerful, especially like having with Panzer IVs. If you're getting a huge return on your investment there, like it's still going to be a great unit in the position that you put it in, and yeah, like it'll be better. You'll have much better kind of like defensive points with this, which is really good, right? Because beforehand you either have just the MG bunker or a pack gun. Here you can get 2-in-1 with the Panzer IV, for instance, because it's good against vehicles and good against infantry. So I can really see this being very strong. I can see this working well maybe with Whirlwind. Because with the Whirlwind, you probably want it in the back, maybe shooting down planes potentially, and it could also act as an MG bunker to defend itself, and it also had 360 coverage around itself. So I could see it working quite well with the Whirlwind, a defensive Whirlwind. And then the Stugs. The thing is, anything with a fixed turret like the Stug or the Marder would work. That would work in corridors, but because it's fixed turret, they're going to be really vulnerable to being flanked, which would suck. What percentage? Yeah, but by here, so the half track is 6 population cap normally and 30 fuel, which so you can see here you're getting 5 pop cap back and 22 fuel back, which is huge, right? So that's absolutely massive. And I'm curious if this is based on the unit itself, or is it just based on a percentage rate of how much that unit costs? That is a considerable return on the investment. It might be too strong. I guess if it is too strong, they'll patch it so that it'll be. You won't get as much for it. You won't get much of it as a return of manpower and population cap back. So I was it's 75%, 73%. So that's still crazy. So basically, you could have like Panzer IVs around the map just for like 25 fuel in really key locations, which could be insane. One thing I'd like to know is, can you scuttle these positions? With Company Heroes 2, after a while, playing with the Brits, they did add the ability to tear down emplacements, because sometimes emplacements became redundant during the late game, where you might push quite far forward and a mortar in the back would can't reach anything anymore, so you wanted to tear it down or you wanted to build a different unit. I'd like to see if there's the option here to actually maybe destroy your own units here so you can get it. Also, just thought of something what people could do. Imagine, okay, hear me out here. Imagine if you had 2 Wehrmacht players, right? So there is a choice, right? There's a choice between immobilize and fortify and recovery efforts, okay? Let's say you had 2 Wehrmacht players picking the exact same commander. One went recovery efforts and one went for immobilize and fortify. If the stripped down hulls of those vehicles, when they blow up, can you recover them with the other Wehrmacht players' ability in their Stern Pioneers, and will they get a lot of resources for it? Could they recover said vehicle to be back into its normal state? If so, that's insane. Infinite money glitch, right? Yeah, something like that. You know, it would be not exactly infinite money glitch, but you could kind of abuse it a lot, right? I can see that being a potential thing that could be really strong. Yeah, 2 players going one for the other. We'll have to definitely test that, because that I can see that being very, very strong. The way to fix that would be that these emplaced tanks, when anything's hulled down, when these things are hulled down and they die, they just don't provide a wreck. Maybe they'll just completely explode like what a bunker does. And if that's the case, then I think that would be balanced. But then that kind of penalizes the allied players. Maybe, you know, if there's a wrecked, you know, Panzer IV that was hulled down and they had a recovery vehicle, they might want to recover that Panzer IV and use it themselves. So, I don't know. The amount of, you know, if you think about it, that's very unlikely to happen. The amount of people that you actually see go for the American recovery vehicle is very rare. It'll be a very rare occurrence that'll ever happen. But here I definitely can see this maybe being exploited by 2 Wehrmacht players picking the same battle group here. But yeah, we don't know. We don't know how strong the offensive and defensive bonuses are. Will they get increased range? But yeah, I can see this commander being incredibly good. I like it. I'm liking it a lot. I like Stern Pioneers. But yeah, for me, though, I will see myself going Stern Pioneers, last-ditch defenses, and then I'm split between either or. I might wait before I choose either or, but I do love recovery efforts because I love getting manpower and resources from wrecks. It depends on like what my opponents are doing. And my opponents spamming lots of light and medium tanks, recovery efforts make sense. But if not, immobilize and fortify makes sense. And then over here we automatically get final battle. It seems like it's a munition timed ability. And then I'd probably pick the Wanzi over the Panzerfaust rollout. Panzerfaust on every infantry squad's quite nice, but it sounds like it needs a munitions cost to be able to upgrade the squad, like what you did with camouflage in Company Heroes, so you had to buy camouflage. So it's going to be maybe an expensive thing to do munitions cost wise. Having Panzerfaust on all your infantry, like your Panzer Grenadiers and your Stosstruppen and things like that, will be quite sick. However, the Borgwanzi, I feel like it sounds like a more fun thing to use. It might be a quick, a good unit to bring out to help, smash down enemy armor, and as act as a big Goliath type thing, which could be cool. And then exclusive choice, the Nebelwerfer for Overwatch or a Scavenge Doctrine. I'd probably go for the Scavenge Doctrine because that seems very strong, being able to get the bonuses from killing enemy units. It did seem like there was like those caches, those little munitions things did drop from enemy units. Can the allied units pick them up? So here's the example here, right? So we play this
for sustaining pressure and maximizing battlefield.
So you can see these things on the ground. Is this only accessible for this Wehrmacht player? Can friendly DAC or friendly other Wehrmacht players access these drops, or is it just this player? So we need to know if the allies can actually grab their own supplies, and would they also benefit from it? Because I think if that is the case, that would be an issue, because it's more likely that the allied player would be able to pick up this than the enemy player, because they'll be closer to it, since that's the squad that took the damage. But yeah, they do seem to get like a bonus for like recharging abilities and things like that, and a bit more of a damage bonus.
Panzerfaust, smokes, and tactical abilities. Scavenging boosts their rate of fire, making them deadlier with every engagement. Ideal for sustaining pressure and maximizing battlefield efficiency.
Yeah, I think that ability sounds better than just the general Nebelwerfer for Overwatch. That's okay, but I mean, I can make a Nebelwerfer if I want to have indirect fire. So I'd probably try go for the Scavenge Doctrine. But yeah, I think overall, guys, it's pretty good. What do you guys think? What's your thoughts on it? I'm curious in chat. Wehrmacht have a new infantry early option, having the Stern Pioneers. Yeah, these guys come with G43s as well, and they could be then upgraded to a 4th man, I think, later on. We might see Stern Pioneer spam, something like that in the early game, which would be quite cool. And then with the Panzerfaust rollout, that would be really good because they will all, normally I would say don't go Pioneer spam or something like that because you have no AT capability. Hey, you have an ability here that gives them Panzerfausts, which is pretty damn good. So you could potentially skip going Grens entirely, mainly. No sweeper. I think they still have the ability to get sweep. I mean, you'll be able to still make a normal pioneer and sweep. It doesn't it's not like the American one where you get scout squads and then you pick the pathfinders and then every scout from that point on is now a pathfinder. You build pioneers and then convert them into Stern Pioneers through the tier 1 interchange option from what it looks like. Let's just quickly watch that again. It's right at the start of the video.
Retrain your Pioneer squads at the infantry company to become Stern Pioneers. Stern Pioneers are equipped with G43 rifles and can capture with G40.
So you can see here that you have normal Pioneers alongside just Stern Pioneers as well. So you can have both. They with G43s are equipped with
G43 rifles and
retraining normally costs something, so it's very likely it's going to cost.
Stern Pioneers can be upgraded with an infrared scope for better detection of concealed enemies.
So that's pretty good, and it's the SDG one. They get a single SDG, so that will increase their DPS slightly, and also allow to spot commandos and things like that.
Flamethrower for ridding enemies from entrenched positions. Both upgrades provide an additional squad member. Lastly, Stern Pioneers can switch to throw a continual volley of grenades to flush out dug-in defenders.
Continual volley of grenades is pretty insane.
Designate an area and artillery will fire random explosive ordnance, incendiary rounds or smoke shells on that location.
Yeah, this is one of the abilities that I'm not a fan of. This is random stuff, random RNG things. It could backfire, and if something can backfire, it's not good, right? The smoke is blocking this Panzer IV from finishing off a unit, maybe. If the ability's cheap, maybe I can see it working a little bit better, but what's the option there is that or the last ditch defenses. I think we'd probably prefer the last ditch defenses, to be fair. When that's the choice, I think we'd probably prefer the Panther turrets. The thing is that if you've got Panther turrets, right, it's kind of the same thing as the immobilize and fortify, because you can have a Panzer IV which is like stripped down and fortified, which would be similar to almost to the Panther turret, right? It's kind of the same kind of principle. So having both of those abilities selected doesn't really make too much sense, but this one also gives you the propaganda tower, which could be quite good as well. Panther turrets, will have the longer range. They'll obviously do more damage than the Panther IV against armor as well, yes. But it's the same kind of principle, as like a defensive structure kind of thing. Again, it all depends on how much munitions this costs. Yeah, I'm liking this. This is I'm pleasantly surprised by this commander. I think overall it's very nice. It's very good. It's definitely sets itself apart. I see Night Leaf is saying it's like a reworked coastal Battlegroup. I disagree with that. I think it's definitely got its own spin on it with kind of this kind of whole. I mean, the whole idea behind Last Stand. You've got a unique unit here in the Wannsee. Panzerfaust and all infantry is unique. Scavenge doctrine is also unique. It's not the normal like a scavenge where you like a pillage where you or like a plunder where you pick up an extra weapon for your guys. It's a different type of scavenge, which is cool. That's unique. Artillery barrage is a kind of almost bog standard kind of thing. Overwatch, and that's kind of unique, but not the greatest thing. The Stern Pioneers are cool though. That's nice. And the recovery efforts is pretty good. You don't have that on the coastals either. Not a million miles away. Yeah, I mean, it is again a defensive type of commander, especially on the right-hand side. But if you think back to Company Heroes 2, guys, there was many commanders which were focused around defense. You had fortified armor, which would hold down your vehicles. You would have commanders which give you the Pack 43 or the LEFH or repair bunkers, things like that. So you had multiple different types of repair or defensive type commanders in Company Heroes, in previous Company Heroes cool they're exploring more defensive options without being extremely campy and toxic. Yeah, I think it's unique. Let's see what people are saying. Get a Panzerfaust, you get a Panzerfaust, and everybody gets a Panzerfaust. I love the fuck it, fire, whatever random shells we have left, Hans. It's been ages, but this is giving me OKW vibes. Yeah, I think obviously with the Standpine is for sure there. Skeptical on the Borgward at first, but you've really done your research here. Everything about this looks OP as hell. Finest recovering vehicles is the most broken thing on here. No, probably would disagree with that. I don't think that's the most broken thing. It's very good. What's right is going to be disgusting. Looks very cool. It's very balanced. So guys, that's the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did and want more content, check up over here and over here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, make sure to click the button down here. To catch the next video, guys, take care, and I'll see you soon.